Freud developed the psychoanalytic theory, which proposes that unconscious motivations influence personality development. According to Freud's theory, the mind has three components: the id, the ego, and the superego. Freud also proposed 5 stages of development that we go through as we grow up. They are the oral stage, when pleasure comes from sucking and biting; the anal stage, when pleasure comes from using the bladder and sphincter muscles; the phallic stage, when pleasure comes from self-stimulation of the genitals; the latency stage, when sexual feelings recede a bit; and the genital stage, when pleasure comes from the genitals and mature sexual relationships. If we get too much or too little pleasure in any of these stages, we can become fixated on that stage and focus too much on the pleasures associated with that stage. When our drives and desires get out of control, however, we may use one or more defense mechanisms, which are all a form of denial, to protect ourselves.
Breuer told Freud about an unusual patient, known in psychoanalytic history as Anna O, and an even more unusual treatment, the talking cure.
Anna O is a very severe hysteric. She has contractures, she has paralyses, she has impairment of vision and speech, and Breuer starts to see her daily, and as she describes her symptoms, he becomes aware of the fact that when she tells him about the origin of a symptom, the symptom tends to disappear. It is the patient who coins the term the talking treatment, which becomes the basis of all psychotherapy.
Still using hypnosis, Freud adopted this eccentric new treatment, talking with his patients about their symptoms, trying to uncover when and how they began. What he uncovered is still reverberating through Western culture. Patient after patient traced their hysteria back to traumatic childhood experiences involving sex. Sex, it seemed, was at the root of neurotic sickness. For a time, Freud believed that all hysteria stemmed from childhood sexual abuse. Eventually, he argued that it either came from real abuse or from a repressed and guilty childhood fantasy of sex. In either case, sex was at the core of the problem. In fact, sex was cropping up everywhere, even Freud's consulting room. His female patients, one after the next, were developing romantic feelings for their doctor. At the end of one session, a woman threw her arms around Freud and gave him a passionate kiss. Freud was highly aroused, as a scientist, and he pondered this new riddle.
Here he was, roughly 40, sexually inexperienced, and all of a sudden he's with a woman patient who throws her arms around him and wants a kiss. Now, I think that many men in that circumstance might think, the patient finds me attractive. She has fallen in love with me. But Freud didn't. Here he was in a sexually saturated clinical setting, and he was not going to succumb to the sexuality, nor was he going to leave it. He was going to figure out a way how to stay there and work with the patient.
Freud eventually realized that his patients were transferring passionate feelings for their parents onto him. The concept of transference became a crucial tool in psychotherapy.
Good morning.
I'm Sister Bingley.
This slide. Can you please tell me about your dream?
I had a dream which I was back in high school. I didn't know my schedule. At the classroom I was supposed to be in and just wandered around. I had washed my hair the night before but forgot to rinse the conditioner out, so it looked greasy. I went to the girls' classroom to rinse it, but I couldn't brush through it. I panicked and got stabbed. I had to follow another girl into the classroom I thought I was supposed to be in and sat down. One of my friends was sitting next to me and was embarrassing me by making loud noises and playing with the toy truck. When it turned at 9 a.m., she wanted to leave, but I told her class over 9:10 a.m. at lunchtime. I couldn't find any friends to sit with and ended up sitting next to my sister. A girl came up and stabbed another girl who was hitting near me. she stabbed her 3 times, while everyone sit in shock. The girl was stabbed and calmly removed the knives and walk away.
While the manifest content of this dream is threatening, the dreamer is returned to a time youth, when despite the emotional demands of modern high school society, less demanded of him. Like a new student in high school, the dreamer is entering a similarly uncertain and non-educational environment in his life present. He may be dually anxious. Friends do not understand his desire to extend school, and concern his friends will hold him back. The old rules extends of high school, appearance, schedule, basic social rules, even in the face of hostility, are no longer valid. Wish fulfillment can be seen the fact that appearance is unimportant. Even though the dreamer works to improve his appearance, he is unable to. But this does not cause him difficulty in the school. He has other students to show he's the way. But in concern about the need to rely other students, nonetheless, aggressive behavior is acted out against others, not the dreamer.
Morning, Doc.
Good morning. Please lie down. Please tell me anything.
I am thinking of the fluffy clouds. I seem to see it with my very eyes. They are white and pearly. Pearly shells from the ocean. The sky is full of clouds, but I feel azure. Patches can still be seen here and there. Clouds keep changing their shapes. They are fluid because they are condensed with water particles. I am thinking I may have an obsession about this water. The doctor told me I am dehydrated. There's not enough water in my body. He suggested I should drink 2 to 3 liters of water every day. Mineral water or a tea.
We put a stop here to the flow of our patient's associations. We may notice these are indirectly related to the relationship with her therapist. His associations related to the spontaneous medicines to his body lead to the idea that no physician is in fact necessary. The patient thinks that psychoanalysis has in fact no contribution to his well-being, that he could very well do without one. We must admit the series of pre-association produced by the patients are somehow related to his present circumstances, including a recent reality. His psychoanalytic therapy, the novelty of the therapy, the relationship with the psychoanalysis, automatically induces thoughts, remarks, more or less recent memories. The fact that during his therapy, the patient alludes to a doctor who had in fact done nothing to help is more chance that memory can be related to the present, and it may be translated in the patient's skepticism concerning the utility of this analytic therapy. Nevertheless, this skepticism has an even other history, bringing to the fore the patient's relationship to his mother when still a child and dependent of his parents' support.